on the cake that was Season of the Worthy. Okay? I'm talking that was the season that I was denied my conclusion. I woke up at 2 o'clock that day. I didn't know. I was like, Saturday in Destiny. Nothing usually happens on Saturdays. Whatever. See if there's anything interesting from What? The Almighty's been shot down. What? Huh? Bueller? How, Sway? How?
Guardian down.
I went to the tower. There was debris raining down from the sky. I was like, what? What do you mean? What's happening? What is happening? Huh? I have never been more flabbergasted. Oh, so did I. We're all looking in one direction. There was a flaming husk. And I'm like, okay. The aftermath? What? The aftermath? Is Dr. Dre coming to Destiny? Is this the next episode? No? You mean you just concluded a technology-defining live event, the first of its kind in the franchise's 5-year history, after the worst season you've ever produced? And I missed it? That didn't hurt your feelings. That didn't hurt your feelings. Because you saw Season of the Worthy and you were like, nah, son. I'm not doing Seraph Towers. F these bunkers. And what's a Guardian game? Yeah. Okay, Titans. Enjoy your trash receptacle. Can you stop? Can you stop? Just stop. Just stop. Just stop. The season concluded with you clearing one bunker. Stop. Just stop. Just stop. Or stop. You said F this drivel. I'm not doing this. And I was like, but the Almighty and the story. Doritos. I had every bunker cleared by April. I was level 100 by the end of the first month. I have the heir apparent. My feelings are hurt. Luke Smith was like, oh, you thought this was a bad season? You are not prepared. Oh, you thought Fellwinter's lie being an actual lie was funny? You are not prepared. And you know what? He wasn't lying. I was not prepared to wake up on a morning where traditionally nothing happens in the Destiny universe, only to find that a literal game-defining moment is what happened. And the announcement for it was on Twitter. This is despite the fact that they have an in-game announcement and bulletin board system built into the game. I played Destiny Friday night. Why didn't they tell me? Jessica, I turned on Destiny 1 and the BBS told me about Destiny 2. I'm like, so y'all can tell me to buy Destiny 2 simply because I'm playing the first one. But y'all can't tell me that I'm about to watch the Almighty crash into the tower in real time? Y'all don't think that was prescient? Prescient information that every Guardian should be aware of? I guess, I mean, I don't live on Twitter because I value my sanity, but I also play Destiny, so I can see why Bungie would assume that I'm crazy. Can't get too mad at him. I am a member of the Destiny fanbase. Clearly, there's a little bit of instability in here somewhere. Oh, really? And then you said, anyway, this has been, my name is Gabriel, and Herodastria ad Astra. You totally should have said that. Oh, that would have been it. That would have been it. I mean, that's just testament to Bungie's ability to craft a really engaging story. You know? I mean, I feel like when you created a universe that is still engaging and interesting, and you know, despite any actual flaws in like the presentation, I think you truly won. I think you truly succeeded at what you set out to do, even if there's like bumps in it, you know, because I feel the same way when I watch people who are really into Warframe, and I can't comprehend Warframe because the initial presentation to me was so obtuse and weird. I didn't get into it, you know, when it originally came out. Like I didn't have that, you know, that gameplay loop to sustain me, or that instantly engaging brain to controller connection that Bungie's games have. So I wasn't able to get into it like that. But when I see people that are really into Warframe and its expansions and its story, and I'm like, this must be what I look like. This must be what I look like when I'm talking about Destiny. you're definitely a lore master. Yeah. Who had a personality. We did have Diversity Zavala, Zavala, Boisterous Dude with a helmet, and Crazy Lady Under the Stairs for like a good year and a half. Yeah, what? Diversity Zavala. Hey. Look.
Guardian down.
I didn't say he wasn't. I mean, you know. He could have been brown before he was blue. She's still a black woman with short hair and a stoic attitude. I did not. I mean, I'll be very honest with you. I did not feel Ikora, okay, until she said that not doing anything, you know, in response to the death of Cade was cowardice. That's when I started to go, okay. Ikora got some. She's got some spice here, you know. She's like, I didn't know she liked Cade that much. I didn't know she really considered him a friend, despite, you know, his freewheeling attitude and disregard for anything resembling a rule book. She just seemed like she reacted to him like everyone does. Like, everybody was just kind of the straight man to Cade. So... yeah, everyone did have to die so the game and the story could be fly. Hey. I mean, I don't mind the Cade show. You know, there's something to be said about a story full of straight men and having, like, you know, the Peter Venkman character constantly uprooting the tone. You know, I mean, you can Peter Venkman out, but again, you know, Egon, Ray, and Winston have distinct personalities, even though they play straight man to Venkman. And I think that was the problem, you know. Like, I got to see Ikora be somewhat despondent about losing her power, but I mean, in the Red War, but that's what anyone would experience. And oh yay, Zavala is still duty-bound and thinking of the people around him. Because everyone's lost their powers. Alright, that's you're all the same. You know? I also feel like, for all intents and purposes, Season of Worthy and I'll say Season of Arrivals is definitely a Zavala season. As far as fleshing him out, I feel like we got to see different sides of Zavala, absolutely, in this season more than any other. You know, like a lighter side to him, a more fun side, a side that's not his front-facing personality that he gives everyone in the tower, but an actual character who feels things, you know. You get to see him feel powerless. You see his faith shaken. You know, there's a lot going on with Zavala that made him very compelling this season, I think. And I've... And his office. His office has tons of little micro details that tell you things about him. Especially his boombox with the Shaxercise and the tape deck. I know! There's a moral to this story. Don't leave your life in the hands of Spectrum. They'll take it and poo on you.
Hello.
Mood ruined.
Oh,
Mood
man.
ruined. Mood completely ruined.
Overheating.
Weasel.
Weasel.
Yeah. Spectrum
What?
gonna
Let's
Spectrum.
keep you on your toes.
Spectrum gonna Spectrum. I'm gonna take this moment to remind everyone that I am literally a house number from getting Fios.
Really?
These monopolies, these crime families of internet service providers and the territories they occupy, this needs to end. All right? Yo, Elon, I really don't want to pay $600 for your satellite internet thingy. But something tells me it will be more reliable than the current structure we have now.
You know what, dear? It may be worth it to splurge a little, I guess. You know, maybe if you did the thing where, like, we, like, if we were, like, cord cutters, you know, we could splurge on, like, the best possible, like, the $600 a month
Well,
satellite
no,
internet.
the initial setup package is like almost 600, and then it's like 100 a month.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Yeah.
that may be worth it, depending on, you know, how devoted you are to your
Yeah,
internet.
because you need some kind of doohickey just to connect to it at all. Because it's
Mm-hmm.
like satellite based.
Mm-hmm.
And reportedly, the speeds are supposed to be anywhere between 50 and 150 megs per second.
Wow, that's pretty crazy.
Some school in Texas is getting it for free while they do the beta rollout. But the
Mm-hmm.
initial beta is like right. It's either happening or about to happen very soon. But yeah, that was like, okay, that's cool. That sounds cool because competition is where complacency dies.
Yeah, true.
And I think these providers are way too complacent in offering subpar service simply because areas are literally either cordoned off or exclusively dominated by like one or two choices.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like that should be illegal, right? I mean, it seems like that's like that violates antitrust laws,
Mm.
I think, or like they shouldn't be. I don't know how they got around this, to be honest. I'll probably need to look into it. But like, it shouldn't be
No.
that way. They shouldn't be, cordon off areas where you don't have a choice as to what kind of service you can get. You should be able to just decide who you want based on the service they
I mean,
provide. Like, that's
I
it.
mean,
That should be the only,
mhm.
like, that should be the only thing. It should be your decision. It should be what you want to do. But that's not the way they work. Not only do they cordon off certain areas, they also, if you notice, their prices are basically the same.
Oh yeah, throughout the pandemic.
So,
Yeah.
no, what do you call it? I mean, like from each
Oh.
other
Oh
in
well, in case
general.
you didn't know, yeah,
Yeah.
throughout the pandemic as well. Okay. Late fees were not subdued. Price remained the same. Spectrum was like, "Yo, how about that $70?" I was like, "Ah."
Yeah, good stuff. Hmm?
Hello.
Hello.
Sorry about that. Um, the crazy bird lady um came to me to inquire if her language settings had been changed on her Fire Stick
On what?
because she was
Oh.
watching The Mandalorian and everyone seemed to be speaking a language she didn't recognize. I'm gonna let you unpack the levels of that. I'm not even gonna say anything more than that. I'm just gonna let you unpack that on your own. I'm gonna just, yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna just let you deal with that so I don't have to.
Oh. That's priceless.
It is quite adorable.
So I'm assuming they were speaking an alien language.
Hey.
Oh.
Hey.
That's just all right, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
It's why she
I'm
is
sorry.
the one true bird master. That's why, gotta. Oh! Who is. Who is putting these DLCs in my life? Like, I don't understand this. They just keep issuing hot fixes without warning.
Oh, did I just do an update?
No, I mean to my life.
Oh, to your life. Uh,
Feels like my life is an Unreal Engine. People just drop things in whenever. Like whoever's in charge of this server is just dropping stuff in randomly, just to mess with me. Every so often, I look above my head to see if there's like a green diamond. Okay. Well, I'm trying to join you, but it says destination full. Return to orbit.
Oh, I'm in the tower. I just got my cash cow.
Is that the second one? Is that
Thingamabob.
for the Sparrow?
Yeah, the second one.
The
Yes.
Tomb Rider?
So, and
yuck.
plus, it said that my postmaster was full, and
Ah.
stuff was gonna get deleted, so I figured, quick trip to the tower, never heard anybody.
Stocking up on them blues, huh?
Yeah, lots of, and like 1050 stuff, which I no longer need.
Yeah. That sounds about right. I don't think anyone needs 1050.
By the way, nah.
It's the mark of the blueberry.
Nah. Actually, yeah, if you read TWAB,
The TWAB?
apparently, the TWAB, yes, apparently, once the Beyond life hits, everything's gonna, similar to what happened with Shadowkeep, the minimum light level is gonna be 1050.
Oh. I really thought you were going to tell me.
So everything's gonna.
Yeah.
So yeah, everything's gonna get converted to 1050 if it's not already.
That's what always happens. The soft cap from the previous season becomes the minimum standard. I'm sorry. The soft cap that the previous expansion ends with is usually the default cap for the next expansion. Like in Shadowkeep, everything moved up to 750. Even for new players, started at 750 in Shadowkeep.
Right.
What I was hoping you were about to tell me was that similar to the change they made, I forgot which expansion it was, but similar to the change they made where once you start getting legendaries, you stop seeing green items. I thought you were going to tell me that you'd reach a point where you stop seeing blues in your inventory, but so wishful thinking.
Yeah, no.
They literally
No
exist
such luck.
at this point to just be dismantled. I
They
feel
do.
like once you pass the soft cap, you should just stop seeing blues. Like, not immediately. Like, maybe if you're like 5 levels above or 10 levels above the soft cap, like, you should just stop seeing blues, because at that point, I would love a system that just automatically just turned them into weapon parts.
Yeah, that
Just
would
drop weapon parts. Just, just automatically break them down for me so I don't have to go to Katie and, just X button my way to victory.
Checking.
It's an X button fiesta in this Postmaster. Not that I mind terribly.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes it just clutters up your stuff, okay? It's just cluttering up my stuff. Like, there's too much, you get too much stuff in Destiny to be cluttering up your life with a bunch of blues.
Yeah.
Sounds just annoying past a certain point. So I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
No. I wish they would make that change.
I mean, I could see wanting to equip a
But
1050 if you're like 1055.
Yeah.
Cool. That's
Right.
not bad, but like when you're like 1060, it's like, why are you here? Why are you doing this to my soul? But weapon parts.
Yeah. Yes. You'll appreciate this. Apparently, they're going to start making it so that you can get bright dust from more stuff.
They're bringing back the bright dust
Because they
economy.
Yes, because apparently they noticed that part of the bounty fatigue It's happening from people trying to grind weeklies to get Bright Dust.
Oh, really?
Yes.
You mean like what I'm doing right
Yeah,
now
they,
to get my mummy emote?
I mean,
Across 3 characters? They knew what they was doing. They knew what they were doing at the like when when they did the tribute hall, and they told everybody, "Hey guys, while you're burning through all your mats for these statues, by the way, we're removing the amount of items that you can dismantle to get Bright Dust, and we're taking away the Eververse bounties that get you extra Bright Dust. This is in an attempt to force you to buy silver." What? Oh, we're not supposed to say. Oh, disregard. This is in an attempt to streamline the economies and really get players more engaged with the content that is present. So, just a heads up. Like, plan unsuccessful.
Yeah, okay.
Narrowing the Bright Dust economy did not immediately translate into more Eververse sales, did it?
Amazing how that happened. Yeah.
I mean, kudos on them for like rotating some armors, emotes, and items in and out of the silver dominated parts of the store, because I always think that the first taste is free approach is definitely, I mean, it has kept the drug trade rocking and rolling for an inexplicable, amount of time by using this very method. Yeah, and it's something that services like OnlyFans had yet to learn before Bella Thorne broke it. But yeah, I mean, people want to see the quality of what you got in the store before they want to commit their monies to it. Drop a helmet in there. Like that's where that Explorer helmet that my Warlock has on. That's part of like an Eververse set. I was very happy to grind it for Bright Dust, and it did actually make me look at the rest of the outfit like, that actually looks pretty cool. Like, Eververse items are cool. The last thing you'd want to feel is that you have zero chance of getting them or experiencing them, at least from your own hard work.
Right.
That's how you get the monies. Let them in there a little bit. That's why I appreciate the Festival of the Lost not being the Festival of the Cost, because many of these cool emotes and shaders and things have been rotating in and out of the Bright Dust store for the entire event. Remember what I said? Remember what I said about the broom? I was like, they have to do this.
Yes, I remember.
I was like, they have to rotate the broom into the Bright Dust part. They're gonna do it. Watch. And third week, broom.
Boom.
Yep. I was very happy.
Vroom, vroom.
I was very happy to spend 3,500 Bright Dust on that instead of $15. And it's win-win. It's win-win. Because my engagement with the game keeps me playing. I had to play the game to get all that Bright Dust. It's win-win. You're still getting pizzade, Bungie. And you still have, your whales that'll pay hand over fist for it. I feel like,
Right. Still have people who don't feel like doing it or whatever.
yeah, like people that don't feel like paying money will engage with the game more often. And people that don't want to engage more often will be paying you to not play it. So I don't see I don't see a situation where anyone's, at a loss. You're in a good place and people paying you not to play the game they bought. In addition to a obsessive, dedicated fan base, it's a good place to be in. Another day.
People who are fans but don't want to play the game.
Another ornament. It's me, right there.
Hope you brought me some
Oh.
This
So apparently Shahan, the new guy that is not Ultimate Fox,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
looks a lot like a Zeta Cross.
I just want to say, anybody remember my crow theory? We're getting closer to it. In the
Yes,
wild, this
we
is
are.
how we
This
talk.
is how we talk.
And wait, he does? He looks like a Zeta Cross? What, like you saw his face?
Yeah, yeah. They showed his face in the vid doc.
And he look. Either this is the most meta thing ever, or it's like a wonderful
That
mistake.
actually,
I feel like it could be the former.
I'm not sure. Like, Bungie hasn't denied it,
Mm-hmm.
and Zeta Cross, when he saw it, he was like, "I'm in the game." You know, he was just excited.
Mhm.
You know, I don't think
Why would he?
he really is saying that.
This is the man that same day will drop a video explaining everything. And I mean, who better to lead us through the wildlands than the man who is always ready to lead us through the twab? That's a
Right?
wonderful meta joke, if it is one.
And Luke Smith was like, "Yup, we're gonna introduce a character who's got like not one but two Fast and the Furious."
Thank
movies."
you.
And it's like,
I'm glad we're not the only ones thinking this. Like, I'm like, sure, Haunt. That's really on the... You guys are fans of Fast and the Furious, huh?
mm-hmm. Yep.
Han? Well, I mean, you know, thank you for not taking the low-hanging fruit and calling him, you know, Shaw Hobbs. Appreciate you. Still on the nose, but not as on the nose.
Only a little bit on the nose.
You are travelers.
Just a
But
little.
wow.
Do you know what
Just
that
a small
means?
amount. On the nose.
That's
right
hilarious. So he actually said that in the TWAB. Not one,
Yeah,
but
he
two
said that in
Fast
the
and the
TWAB.
Furious names.
Stay
there. Yes.
That's great.
He also, I feel like Luke Smith is full of very funny one-liners in the TWAB. You know, he was just like, "Oh, you know, in Beyond Light, you're gonna see the stranger who has
So are the
a
rumors true?
lot of time to explain."
There are so many bars in Beyond Riot. I have bars in Beyond Riot that make that exact. Yep, he knows. Why, dear? What? Why do you think his apocalypse beard looks the way it does? It's full of one-liners. That's why it's. That's why he has it. That, don't you notice that like during development it just like goes out of control because you know he's saving them up for the twabs. And then like after they finish an
He saves them
expansion, he
up.
usually shaves.
Oh, is that
You
how
can
it
definitely gauge the progress of Destiny development by checking Luke Smith's beard. That's why Beyond Light was about to come out, and he was going Luke Cage season 1. I was like, oh no, it's gonna get delayed.
Oh, jeez.
But uh-oh. Feeling good. Full beard. Twisted Pixel.
Full beard.
You may want to hit Luke with a copyright strike.
Been hearing a lot of chatter about your clan.
Beard.
I love that was the name of their
Beard
engine.
move.
That's the
Move.
funniest. That's the funniest title card I've ever seen for a game engine.
Yes, it's very.
He's like
funny.
Hacker Man.
It's really.
Sitting at his computer like. What?
Tells you a lot about their attitude toward their work, you know?
I do love a meme self-deprecating company culture. I gotta say. And they're obviously very, very big fans of Arnold Schwarzenegger. It just comes out in their work.
Yeah.
You know, I love it. It bleeds.
What have they done recently?
I don't want to. I don't want to be presumptuous, but last I heard of them, they had broken away from Microsoft to pursue something or whatever. But if you remember, Microsoft
Okay.
had bought them after they did Splosion Man.
Mm-hmm.
No, but hadn't really seen anything from them since Loco Cycle.
Checking now.
So, whatever that may mean, whatever the subtext of that may mean, you know, maybe they were not getting their chance to shine, or you know, get their projects off the ground the way they had hoped, even with the backing of Microsoft. And it's a shame that it happened before they, announced their crazy initiative when they just put together all these stellar first-party studios and really wanted to step up their first-party game. I almost feel like it's that weird situation that occurs in the music industry when someone gets, when a hot artist gets signed to a label and then for some reason you just see their creative output peter out and you have no idea why.
Yeah.
And then like a year or two or however long later, in hindsight, they like leave the label and then they have this whole story
Hi there.
about how,
Check.
they were just sat on or held back or just, kind of pooped on. Like, that's practically,
Yeah.
that's basically Designer's story. Remember Designer?
Yeah, what happened to Designer? He had Panda and then he disappeared.
Good music's what happened to Designer. Or I Love McConan.
What was that?
Okay, so Designer, of course, was signed off of having the biggest first single that an artist could possibly have. I mean, to the point of literally being a part of, Kanye's newest album. And then after that, he released his mixtape, New English, which was not very good. It was basically not very good. And then Life of Designer in 2018, which was okay. But from the outside looking in, it's like, it looks like he did not get the cultivation that a new artist like him would have needed in the game to
Right.
create something great. And to hear scuttlebutt in general about good music, Kanye West is too erratic and unpredictable a creative entity to also, A&R and manage his label at the same
Right.
time, which is why it's a godsend that, Pusha T took over as, CEO. Because even though as an artist himself, Pusha T does have things that he wants to do and that he does, he's also very attentive and easy to get a hold, and much easier to get a hold of than Ye would be. Unfortunately, the fallout from that in its own way means that artists signed to the label don't always get to do what they want to do the way they want to do it or would like to do it. Kind of puts them in a weird box. I would say not necessarily on purpose, but, managing a label is tough, man. And if you're not grooming and, cultivating your artists to make great art, then you've essentially just hired them as like ghostwriters and producers. And like I heard Designer on a webcam, talking to I think a radio show, and he was like, they had him in there. He was writing tracks for Yandi He was helping out with production on other projects that weren't his. But his stuff, you know, wasn't getting, you know, the attention it needed. And he was trying to get out of it. Which is not a great experience to have. But, I mean, one look at OVO Sound quickly tells you that that is not a label. That is no. That is a that's a
Drake.
yup. That is a Drake. That is Drake's soul stealing chamber. That's his clout stealing chamber.
Yeah.
It's his clout siphon. It's the hyperbaric clout chamber. An artist with an awesome new sound or writing style or way of rapping or singing, they get signed to OVO Sound so that Drake can siphon the clout from them and then never do anything with them ever again after he has gotten the required clout essence.
The required clout.
This literally is I Love McConan's trajectory. My man had the club going up on a Tuesday after not selling Molly no more. He was good on his own. But then Drake wanted to have the club going up on a Tuesday. So he signed I Love McConan, you know, did the collaboration, and then you never heard from I Love McConan ever again.
Man.
Hey, tell me your favorite Party Next Door song. Do you know who Party Next Door even is? Yeah, it's because he's
No.
signed to OVO Sound. Fuck!
Are you okay? Hello?
I said, hold on.
No, you didn't. But it's okay. Everything alright?
Yes.
Yeah.
I forgot what I was saying.
You were talking about OVO and someone I've never heard
Oh
of.
yeah, you have no idea who Party Next Door is because he's signed to OVO Sound. Good singer, producer,
Yeah.
songwriter, guest feature on many popular and, you know, Hot 100 singles. Barely exists. Why? Because he's doing all of that for Drake. So yeah, you know, I totally get that. I totally get it. I hope they're doing well, but I can see how, you know, kind of similar to Bungie before them, you can feel kind of mismanaged or creatively undermined in the face of the large entity that has created you. Slightly less so in Bungie's case. I'm on to you guys. But, you know, I can get
Yeah.
it. And Microsoft definitely had, I will say that Microsoft definitely had some iffy issues with, you know, managing their first party studios and their output. You know, something that was a little more, I feel a little bit more sales driven than just, you know, you get them, you know, let them do their thing. You know, there's a reason you bought them. I don't understand what it is with companies
Right.
buying out, you know, studios and creative talent for one reason and then trying to make them do something else entirely once you've got them. It's like, why did you do this?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's true.
I saw Bungie was very content to be with Microsoft until they wanted to make something other than Halo. It seemed like that's where their frustration came from, the fact that they wanted to make more than just Halo. They were even teasing Destiny in Halo 3 ODST. And
That's
I can
wicked.
imagine, yeah, you know what's crazier is that Easter egg is not in the game anymore in the Master Chief Collection.
Really?
You have to have the original Halo 3 ODST for Xbox to see this Easter egg now, because the Master Chief Collection version of the game has a different poster where the Destiny Awaits poster used to be. Like it was a blatant tease. Like it said Destiny Awaits, and there was a picture of the Earth with this small white ball just sitting above it. Like, But yeah, I can imagine Bungie
Wow.
kind of either pitching or wanting to do Destiny, and heads of Microsoft Studios just not being interested, instead asking, so when's the next
Yeah.
Halo?
Yeah.
I can see how that'd be frustrating. I mean, imagine being so frustrated that you run into the arms of Activision. I cannot fathom the level of frustration that would drive you into the arms of Activision as an alternative.
Yeah, that was. They just needed money. That's really what that was all about. They were like, we need money. Okay, who's got the money? Who's got the most
For a
money?
10-year
Activision.
deal.
Activision's got the money.
For a 10-year contract.
Yeah.
Wow. So I hope they learned from this.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, I hope they learned from this. You know, like.
Not just Bungie, but also Microsoft. You know, if you creatively stifle someone to the point where they literally like turn to a pimp, you gotta like just re-examine your interpersonal relationships. Just
Yeah. I wonder how they're treating their first-person studios now, like Ninja Theory.
oh,
for
they better be
example.
giving them the king's treatment. I mean, I feel like to some degree they've had a less direct hands-on approach as of late. Because, you
Yeah.
know, I mean, Microsoft owns Minecraft. Everybody thought that was going to be the death
Yeah.
knell of the series, but no, they let them do whatever the heck they want. The game is still multi-platform. still comes out on everything, still gets updates across the board. You know, like the 4K update that wasn't exclusive to the Xbox. No, they just they let them do exactly what Mojang. They let them do exactly what they do, and made them successful in the first place. So I do hope that it's the same for Ninja Theory, because clearly that's a talented ass studio.
Oh my god, yes. They did amazing things.
I do not hate anything I've
They
played.
did unheard of.
Yeah, I don't hate anything I've played from them. I've actually liked all their games, despite little
Yeah.
flaws here and there. They are still very passionately, very artistically sound products. All of them. Heavenly Sword, Enslaved, Hellblade, even the oft maligned hatred for DMC that you cannot convince me is not rooted in xenophobia and bias.
I don't get why people hate
Xenophobia
DMC. I thought it
and
was.
bias.
I mean, it was interesting. At the very least, you can say that it had some interesting ideas.
Absolutely, the whole they live conceit mixed
Yeah.
with the yeah. I mean, again, xenophobia and bias. The game industry has not completely rid itself of the how do I say, the status quo of keeping things as Japanese as possible. Like, American game consoles do not perform well, do not get the same recognition and adulation as Japanese ones do. See the state of the industry, where it literally took a $1 billion company with the ability to take a loss to break into the industry the way they
Yeah.
did. Everyone else kind of died
Yep.
trying.
Yeah.
They had to be rich. It's like
Yep.
be rich or die trying.
Yeah, it had to be Microsoft. It couldn't be like
Yeah.
some.
They went in expecting to take a huge
Like you
loss,
said.
and they had to.
Yep.
But it used to be the industry at large generally used to be that way. I'd say until the Xbox 360 generation, where Japanese developers were less innovative and less forward thinking with their technology, as their games started to slip into patterns of sameness and repetition, and American developers were just killing it. Like, single-handedly blew up the stealth genres, the horror genre, RPGs. Like, we were killing it in like 2005 onward, in a way that forced the Japanese game market to really step it up in the same way. But there's still that weird underlying current of it that you see come out of people whenever an Xbox versus PlayStation discussion happens. I'll say sometimes it's definitely merit-based. It's not all just the isms. It's definitely merit-based at times. But by and large, people do not give Microsoft the credit they deserve for what they've managed to do and have continued to do, and are just unbelievably chained to the PlayStation brand. I mean, hey, go where the games are, do what you like, do what you love, but the PlayStation brand is not what makes the games on it good, okay? Naughty Dog is what makes Uncharted good, all right? Insomniac is what makes Spider-Man good. It's not the fact that it's on a PlayStation. And the fact that
Right.
people are just unbelievably blindly loyal to that company is just, that's all it ever says to me. Like, you still got the Japanese good mentality. Like, all right, you cool.
Yeah.
I don't do that no more. Last time I did that was the PS2 generation, and that's because when you're young, you absolutely, personally identify with the things you like in a, big way. It's just what you do.
Yeah. Well, it's your entire personality,
Yeah.
basically. Like you have nothing else.
Exactly.
You know, it's about the choices that you're able
Yes.
to make. You know, when you're a kid, you have to choose a game console. Your parents are not
Yep.
buying you two. You know, for most kids,
Mhm.
anyway, right? Like, so you know, you have to justify that choice somehow. Number one, and number two, it's basically your entire life. You don't have hobbies. I mean, you do, but they're the hobbies your parents chose for you. You know, like, right. Like,
Yeah. So you defend it.
this is the one place where you have
Mhm.
control. And it's like you're saying that I've chosen wrong. And this is literally the only thing that I have to say about
Yep.
it.
I'm defending this
So-
to the teeth. This
Yeah.
is my life. You know, it's like I get it. I get it.
Yeah, I get that. When you're a kid, it's life or death. No
Mhm.
joke.
So you know, I think the only problem really is just carrying that attitude forward, because that can help you as much as it can hinder you. Not to say you shouldn't have pride in what you own. I mean, yeah, even when you're an adult, I paid for this. So, but to a
Yeah.
degree, you have to see the forest for the trees, see the box for the plastic,
Hmm.
and realize what
Yeah.
actually makes a good game, what actually makes brand loyalty important to you. And, I think even though there's still a good argument to be made for exclusives and how they define the cadence of a console, can you get out of the... Why are you playing Gambit Prime alone? Like, I haven't been online for 10 minutes. What do you think I'm doing? What do you think I've been doing? I came back 10 minutes ago. Anyway, yeah, as I was saying, you're unbelievable. Well, I guess I'll play some Gambit.
I
You were
am
in the
in.
tower when I signed back in. Anyway, yeah, it's just when you realize what constitutes a game in general, when the only barrier from experience are your personal feelings or willingness, it becomes a lot easier to just go, okay, I can see why I did this when I was younger, and why I'm not gonna do it now.
Yeah.
Because I can see totally being convinced that the console is the reason. I mean, at a time, it really was, to a degree. The playing field is so level now that it's really down to preferences. Technology doesn't really dictate it,
Yeah.
because the Wii dominated, and it was a generation behind.
Yeah.
Feelings don't dominate it, because the Wii U failed miserably.
It did.
And absolutely, your nationality does not, because the 360 ate the PS3. Just a series of bad choices kneecapped the PlayStation in a way that Microsoft capitalized on. So it's not even the region it comes from. And you're talking about a generation when Uncharted 2 came out. God of War 3.
Wow. Let me think. Yeah, I don't know. I made some weird crossover choices here and there. Like I had.
I feel like I definitely put you onto the Xbox, because you had a PS3 when we met.
Yeah, you did. You did. You put me onto you put me onto the 360 because I had the original
You
Xbox.
did. Man, you...
The giant VCR looking.
I feel
thing
like you saying...
with a giant X.
Mind me. I feel like you saying you had an Xbox is like you literally telling me you had a Ferrari, and then when I come over to see it, it's like missing two wheels, The window's broken. The paint is all scratched. The headlights don't work. I open the hood and there's like no engine.
What
I
do
feel
you
like
mean?
that's a okay. You had an Xbox, sure. You had Tao Feng
Like
and Kakita Chojin as
I
Spider.
did.
Yeah, you had an Xbox. You did.
I did.
You also
I
had
an
the
Xbox.
most abominable game releases to ever exist. Like, I could see why you chose the
know, I got-
PS3, is what I'm saying. Here. You,
I also had Ninja Gaiden.
and Halo. And you
And-
hated Halo.
And Halo and Dead or Alive. I
That's
hated Halo.
amazing.
Yeah, and Dead or Alive.
Okay, that is true. Itagaki did surgically attach himself to the Xbox brand in a way that I found very endearing. He was
did.
Japanese. Like, you know how serious that is?
But he
You know
was-
how serious that is?
Yeah.
Be a Japanese developer that is always singing the praises of the Xbox? He had to have taken some L's like that for that back home. I mean, DOA was exclusive. Ninja Gaiden was exclusive. He was like, the PS2 ain't powerful enough to run this. Miss me with that. Buy an Xbox, fool. How you think we get these boobs? It's like being an American football fan in Manchester, living in Manchester. Like, what? Yeah, man, fuck that FIFA shit. Giants. What? What? But, yeah. You get to that point. And it's so funny to me, seeing how this generation has played out, just really put it in perspective for me. Because I watched all of the early release windows, exclusive content, exclusive DLC, and marketing campaigns that the Xbox 360 thrived on all move over to the PlayStation brand. Why? Because
Yeah.
they were in first this time. Microsoft is the one that made a bunch of baffling decisions that kneecapped their launch. And then Sony got ahead and
Yep.
stayed ahead, just like Microsoft did with the 360. You know, the Kinect bundled in for $500 was the $599 US that killed the system early on. Now that was Sony's
You
famous
know,
last
I
words.
love that.
$599 US.
I love that. I love that as like an interesting case study as to what it looks like when you fuck up a launch. Because it is. It's a beautiful case study for messing up a launch. I've brought it up multiple times when I'm talking about like messaging
Oh, yeah.
and the thing that you say when you're right out of the gate, the first thing people say when you're right out of the gate, like you cannot mess this up because it'll be really hard to recover after the fact. Just ask Microsoft. You know, they had the best thing out there. That was, there's no debate. They had the best thing out there. They had this console that had more features. They had 6 teraflops here. Okay, all the teraflops.
Man,
Right.
teraflops. It was the bits of our time. Yeah.
Teraflops. Okay, and also the Kinect was so cool.
It was.
The Kinect was not just something that you used to play games. You could also exercise.
Voice
There's
control the
nothing like it.
console.
voice
before Siri and
control,
Hey
like,
Googles dominated the consciousness.
they had it figured out before anybody else. They were 5 years ahead at least.
I used to
Anybody
come
else.
home and say Xbox on, Xbox Snap YouTube, Xbox
Remember
Snap
the
TV.
motion controls?
I use Snap like a beast. And yeah, I remember the motion controls. Mm-hmm.
So ahead of their
The heck?
time. Like, we're doing the machine's gun.
Can you
quest.
tell me what we're doing?
Sorry, I got really caught up in the conversation. Yes, so I found all of the thingamabobs, the resonant stems,
Mm-hmm.
and now we have to do this mission with an Akilos gun equipped.
Mm-hmm.
At least I do. And I guess after this, I will get the
Really?
the machine. Yeah, the machine.
I'm excited.
Me too.
Alright, let's do this then. Do I have an Aikilos weapon on me? Let me equip me an Aikilos weapon just to be in the spirit of things.
That cool sniper rifle is an
I
Akilos
love that
weapon.
sniper rifle, but I am not carrying it. Alright. Let me... But yeah, no, absolutely.
5 years ahead of everybody else
Mm-hmm.
with where their technology was and what they were ready to go to market with. And what they do, they fucked up their launch with the weird ass pricing.
Don Matrix's entire
They-
being.
surfaced from beneath Mars, and he's attacking Rasputin.
And the way that
Head
they
to the power station,
the
and
way
I'll
that they
fill you in.
presented it.
Together, we
like,
can stop him.
Yeah, the console can do all these things, but the first thing you should say shouldn't be TV, TV, TV. Come on now. It's a game console. It's a game console. What is your issue? What is
You know, while I will say that to a degree, the homogenization and integration of technologies to the point where you think of a console as not just a gaming console or just a one thing, but a variety of things that you access through a certain portal is definitely commonplace now. Absolutely commonplace now. The way they said it, yeah, was probably in the most unappealing and confusing way possible. And instead of
Yeah.
doubling down on what they said as if they actually believed in it, instead they let the public and people around them dictate what their vision should be. And if you're doing something forward thinking,
Yep.
that's not something you do. You be bullish about it. Everybody that looked at the damn
Yes.
Wii controller was like, what the fuck is this?
Even the Valkyrie will need some additional
How am I supposed to play games with
Yeah.
this thing?
Rasputin's core
And then
to
Nintendo did not
right?
back off and say, okay, fine, we're gonna make a regular controller and like the motion one is optional. No. They were like, this is the controller it's gonna come with. If you want a more conventional experience, you can buy the Pro controller. But this is the controller the Wii's coming with. Sorry. Take it or leave it. And everybody kind of grumbled to themselves. But what it did was it not only forced people to accept the controller for what it was and appreciate what it was instead of what it wasn't, it also forced developers to adhere to the fact that, well, everybody's not going to have a Pro controller, but everybody will have this thing. And there were growing pains, but eventually, you know,
Yeah.
you could play everything with it. Like, first-person shooters actually felt better with it in its aiming. I played Resident Evil 4 Wii Edition with that thing. It was great. It's great. And, I mean, fighting games, again, buy this controller if you want to do that on the Wii, but this is the remote. And when people looked at the console, what their ambitions were, looked at the Kinect, and said, we don't like this, Microsoft was like, yeah, but the console and the connector, we don't like it. Yeah, but I mean, you can... And Microsoft was like, okay, you can buy it without it, which was an immediate signal, a flare shot into the sky that no, the console doesn't need the Kinect. So don't buy it. And that's what people did.
Yeah.
They did not buy it. I felt that tweet from Harmonix
Yeah.
the day they announced that. I felt that
Yep.
that now deleted. Thanks, guys. Like, it was such a subtle yet overt shot at Microsoft. Like, you realize you just killed our game, right? Like,
Yeah.
you just killed Fantasia.
Yep. Q 3 months later, a very half-hearted Dance
Oof.
Central comes out.
A shell of
That
a
was-
prototype is what that was. I'm pretty sure they were developing Dance Central alongside Fantasia, but then had to
Yeah.
desperately rush out the prototype in the face of that announcement, which is just sad. It kneecapped Dance Central, it kneecapped Fantasia, and that, again, that announcement is single-handedly killed it. When you tell people they don't have to
Yeah.
use it, when you tell them it's not essential, it's like, all right, then I'm not buying this shit.
Yeah.
Like, they should not have listened to the people around them and just stuck to their guns. Yeah, Sony took a pot shot at you in your all-digital strategy.
Oh no.
They take it on the chin, stick to your guns. Because it's crazy that the industry is exactly as all of the original features of the Xbox One predicted. Ain't nobody making fun of Sony for having a discless PS5. Why? It's the world now. Red Dead Redemption is 92 gigs.
Yeah.
They were right. But the ideas were uncomfortable
Microsoft-
at a time when they weren't necessary, and
Yeah.
Microsoft did not make it seem like they would be necessary until they were.
That's exactly what the problem was. If Microsoft, all Microsoft had to do
Got it.
was be like,
Telnet is
listen,
online and
I
ready.
know you
Now
don't
for
like
the
it
inhibitor event.
right now, but you will. Because it needs to be
Yes.
this way.
People don't know what they want. I feel like
Yeah.
that's the number one rule that people just, choose to willfully forget, that people do not know what they want. They don't, even if they're absolutely certain.
The
True
inhibitor
innovation and
is open.
success comes from giving people what they did not know they needed. That's where it comes from. People thought they
Yeah.
needed discs and Blu-rays. People thought they needed, they did not. Because now they need it. Could have had it back then. But Microsoft was just taking L's on the chest, just dramatically reducing every unique feature the Xbox One had until it was just basically an inferior PS4. And by that point, it was like, all right, so do you want to play a less powerful PS4? Because that's basically what they reduced the Xbox One to. So much so that they had to course correct its technology with an intermediate console. Because
Yeah.
that's the way it came off. When the console launched, Xbox One games were under 720p. And forget about 1080p. Like, oh, it's a less powerful system. Oh. It's less powerful because of the Kinect? Ah! It's like, oh, God. The L's. The L's are just raining from the sky.
Yeah.
Oh God,
Yeah.
that's when they put the nails in the coffin, when they revealed like a huge chunk of the system's onboard memory was dedicated to the Kinect, and that the resource
Yeah.
could be used to make the games look and play better. It was like, y'all gotta control this beast and not let
Like,
Peter
we
Molyneux
should've
poison the
never
well.
known about that. We should have never
No.
known about that.
And letting Peter Molyneux
same way-
poison the well was also a problem. Because I am not going to be lectured by the man who was running Lionhead Studios, makers of Fable and Black and White
Get to the core before it goes critical.
and Milo,
Time to forge a new Valkyrie.
aka the
Milo.
man who gratuitously oversells every project he works on and never live up to his grand announcements. Like, you listen to that guy about the potential of the Kinect? No. L's. Yes, that is him. Side note, Lionhead Studios does not exist anymore. I wonder why.
Oh.
Best
Shocking.
of luck to the
Well.
truly talented people that work there. But, you know, you're, what is it? Cut off the head and the body dies? Is that the saying?
Yeah.
Chain is only as strong as its weakest link. Something like that, yeah.
Kind of. The
You
Valkyrie
know,
is ready.
I'm pretty sure Lionhead burned through more money, people, and resources trying to achieve Peter Molyneux's craziness than just making realistically pitched games. Like, why are you telling people that you could plant a seed in the game and have it grow into a tree later on? And all this stuff that's making your developers sweat in their seats as they attempt to to even conceive of the stuff you're telling these people that have not been implemented in the game yet. Just sitting there like, what is he talking about?
Nice work. Now comes the hard part.
Why did
Like,
he
we
even have to
just
hang out
nailed down this grass texture, and this dude is talking about the trees growing in real time. How are we supposed to get that in the? Yeah. you gotta chill. Now, a similar situation happened at LucasArts. You know, LucasArts was a very, very, very renowned game studio. It was no surprise to me that the more visits George Lucas began making to the studio, their projects started slowing down. Their games started getting over budgeted and delayed.
Mm-hmm.
Because a well-meaning but ultimately overly ambitious creative mind saw fit to let his erratic and ever-changing ambitions infect what should be a very straightforward, well thought out, and planned process. Like, games are not movies.
Yeah.
When you make a creative decision about a game that changes it, it's the impact that has is monumental. It's not like firing an actor and getting a new one, or cutting out a piece of film reel to edit. Like, when you decide that a whole planet, a whole protagonist, a whole storyline of a game needs to be cut or changed, you have destroyed months of work and planning in the process. Months of things created that will now
Yeah.
never be used. Months of a structure that now has to be changed entirely to suit these new elements. That is what killed LucasArts. George Lucas
Yeah.
and his indecisive, again, well-meaning, but indecisive and ill-suited for game development creative mind. It was like, it was a game starring this bounty hunter that was very cool. It looked like, it was called Star Wars 1212, and it literally looked like Uncharted in the Star Wars universe. It's actually very, very cool. You can find videos of it on YouTube. But it's like the protagonist changed from this nameless bounty hunter to Boba Fett, which is massive. Yeah. Imagine how the entire game now has to change because of this.
Yeah, they have to change the character model for the entire. Oh, jeez.
Yes.
And they have to write a story that makes sense. for
Yep.
Global
And now
South.
the structure of the game is different because now it's not some dude that you have complete creative license over. It's an existing character in the universe that you now have to shape the game around. Entirely. Yeah, decisions like that, ever-changing and constant decisions like that are what kneecapped that game. Why it never came out. Why LucasArts was ultimately sold away. And why, when a lot of their projects and franchises moved on, like Star Wars Battlefront, like Rogue Commander, like some of them did not find new life in the new places they went to. They were just indefinitely shelved. You know, it really sucks. You know, like the Force Unleashed 2 is a game with incredible technology that... Oh my god!
Oh!
Oh my goodness. Have you ever looked at
Oh,
Zol face to face? Because I have.
No, I guess you just.
That worm almost ate me! They're doing it with a giant worm! Wow. Alright. Shoutouts to me. Shoutouts to Curse of Gabriel.
Javelin is
Shoutouts all
online
around.
and ready.
Good stuff. But yeah, like I felt sorry for the Force Unleashed too, because the Force Unleashed was a great concept turned into a good game with a solid foundation. I mean, Starkiller is actually one of the most recognizable EU characters. I think for that reason alone.
Yeah.
Like he cameoed in other
Yeah.
games like Soul Calibur. He was awesome. And I think mid-development is when LucasArts kind of tanked the way it did, especially with a lot of resources going to Star Wars 1212. So The Force Unleashed ended up being a really good game. I mean, no, a technically proficient game with an incredible engine that had like no game. Shit was like 4 hours long with an underwhelming bad story that was obviously the result of a clear mid-development course correction and loss of budget. I was like, I'm pretty sure if they had known they were going to get their budget kneecapped like that, they probably wouldn't have spent so much time and money on the engine. Because it was an incredible engine. That game looked amazing. It still looks amazing.
Woo!
We make a
But-
pretty good team.
Yeah. Like
so
you
myself.
got to give the people what they don't know they need. Otherwise, you're going to sit in an endless loop trying to create something you think you should be making for someone who doesn't even know what to ask for. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, get George Lucas out of here. What's he doing in here? Listen, you're Star Wars dad. Okay?
Star Wars. Yeah, exactly. He needs to take that. Oh, I didn't realize you were gonna see this.
Should have been like Varsity Blues. I don't want your ideas. Get out of here. Go make movies. Get out of the game studio.
We got
Right,
this
they
covered.
really had this covered.
Right.
Dude, LucasArts is responsible for like Grim Fandango. Like, oh my goodness, so many amazing adventure games that came out. So many great Star Wars games like Episode 1 Racer, Rogue Squadron, Rogue Commando. It's amazing how many great, innovative, thought-provoking, amazing games came out of that studio. And then seemingly one by one, they just all dried up or disappeared as I feel outside forces just conspired to, you know, put them in positions they should never have been in.
To wield me as a primitive weapon.
But yeah, nah, you gotta just, you know, I feel
But today,
stick to
that
your
ends.
guns, know your
and
strengths,
I define the
no
reality
shade.
of my
I
own
feel like
existence.
that's something that keeps kneecapping Amy Hennig.
My my sight will stretch to the
Yeah,
end of the
because I
system and
mean, you
beyond.
can't take away her accomplishments. She's
again.
responsible for
Right.
Uncharted as much as anyone else.
From this day
But
forward,
I think when
I will
she's a
defend
studio
humanity
head,
on my own
when she's a
terms.
project lead, her projects have a habit of
I
getting away
am
from her
Rasputin,
in a
guardian
way
of
that
all I survey.
stalls development and,
I have
you know,
no equal.
unfortunately leaves these projects at the whim of someone who can't nail themselves down.
Don't worry.
I think that I feel like that's been happening to all of her projects and
We got
games
this.
since she left Naughty Dog. Everything else she's ever done or tried to do has either not gotten off the ground or seen her leave mid-project to go to another endeavor.
Yeah, what's that all
Like
about?
the game that became Jedi Fallen Order, that was originally an Amy Hennig project. Uncharted 4, Amy Hennig. You know? Like, she's great at, like, creating worlds and I think writing characters. And planning some elements of gameplay design as they relate to the story. But to build all of that from the ground up, like herself, and guide people, maybe not so much. And that's fine, I mean. Some people are good, some
Yeah, I
things
mean, it's,
bad at others.
you
It's
know,
just- it's life.
they're just different skill sets, you know?
But you gotta know when. I feel like that's part of knowing what you want to do and executing the shit out of it, no matter what anyone says. People were like, "Don't put Ellie on the box in The Last of Us," and Neil Druckmann was like, "No, but it's not gonna sell." No, get out of my office. She's going on the box. Yeah, but what about the... Are you not out of the office yet? What are you doing?
You're still here.
Yeah, like, you're still here.
Why are you still here?
Come back to me. Come back with some more composites of the cover art with Ellie in them. Thank you. You know, make sure she's visible. Yeah, but what about, like, the back of the cover art for the game? Thank you. Yeah, but the focus group. Man,
Oh my god.
I swear I keep hearing voices. I just, you know, he knew what he wanted, how he wanted to execute it, and did it. You know? I feel like that's paramount, because just like that, people had no idea. Imagine trying to assess an entire character's worth and relative value by looking at some cover art. After playing The Last of Us, it's unimaginable that people would think she did not need to be on the cover. She is the game. It's unimaginable after you've played the game to think that there were actually people who did not want to put her on the box. And it's like, that's exactly why. They have no idea what they want. You know what you want to give them, though, and you got to stick it. Because if they had done that, that would have just been like a blight. I mean, the game would have been the same, sure. But that just would have been a criminal injustice that the game would have to live with. The fact that Ellie was as significant to the game as she was and did not even make it on the box. And it's like, oh, well, why didn't you do it? Oh, well, you know, some people who did not write the story, did not have any input whatsoever on the game's actual development, said that the game wouldn't sell well if we did. Oh. So you didn't think that people playing it
Yeah.
had anything, like the game actually being phenomenal would have anything to do with its sales? Uh, who told you that? Someone that doesn't develop games? How'd you know? Yep. Sounds about right. Like, yeah. Just the forest for the trees, you know. Some of the best decisions ever made were made with all the pushback in the world. Like Chuck Palahniuk said. The surest sign that he's heading in the right direction is when he gets pushback. Remember when I sent you that clip of him? Remember I sent you that clip of him on Joe Rogan? When he was like, yeah, like, someone has always had a problem with all of his projects, all of his works, anything he writes. And he's like, that
Well,
is
of
the,
course.
but like, that is the sole signifier that he's heading in the right direction.
Yeah, well, he writes very subversive
Yeah.
stuff. You know, like, for him, that's exactly what that means. If someone has a problem with it, he's headed in the
But
right
remember that
direction.
anecdote
To be
about the
sure.
Fight Club movie? And the
Yeah.
and the line?
And I want to have your
Yes.
attention.
It was like, oh yeah, so I changed it to, I haven't been fucked like that since grade school. And then Fox saw that, and they were like, can we have the abortion line back? Like, yep. Nope. Can't put the genie back in that bottle.
From my family.
Oh man, that's crazy.
So he's like, yeah, you know. That's when you know you're kicking. And the
People are getting in your face.
Oh yeah, questioning why you did this, what is even going on. Like, I feel like that's your opportunity to stick to your guns and say this is why. Because you know, focus testing is only so much. The outside input of others is only so much. The existence of Justice League 1.0 is a shining beacon of what happens when you let all of the cooks in the kitchen, just all of the cooks ever, into the kitchen. And no matter how many things explode, for some reason people keep doing it. And the ones who are really successful and end up changing the game for the better are the ones that were like Gordon Ramsay.
They don't get to walk in here and take things from my family.
Yep.
Like Gordon
Yup.
Ramsay? How so?
Do you think anybody goes into Gordon Ramsay's kitchen and is like, yeah, but can there be more salt? Can you feel the look that he'd probably give you?
Can there be more salt?
Yeah, like I was just throwing something out there. Like, yeah. Yeah, like
Damn.
just
No, you
Ex-
wouldn't dare.
exactly. You don't let all the cooks in. You got the game changers are the Gordon Ramsays. Like, you say
you know,
what now?
there's such a thing to be like. This is, you know, design by committee is like the worst thing ever.
Mm.
Time as you need.
I totally agree with the like. I think it's
Respecting
good
laws,
to like
substantial amount of
ask
guardian
people's
traffic at
opinions
someplace
and hear
under
what they have to
control.
say, but ultimately, in
Strange
most
party.
creative endeavors,
A
I
lot of
think
bullets were fired.
there should be a guiding vision driving things forward. You know, this is true with a lot of things.
Back so soon? How can I be of assistance?
Mm-hmm.
If I missed something, let me know. Rasputin logged a substantial amount of Guardian traffic at some place on Earth called the Weep.
Mm-hmm.
The strange part is, not a lot of bullets were fired.
Yeah.
If I missed something, let me know. I hate how the Cabal think they can raid this place. They don't get to walk in here and take things from my family.
Yeah. Yeah.
Back so soon? How can I be of assistance?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Right. Exactly. Yeah.
I really believe Rasputin can do some good. We just need to trust him. And then he'll trust us.
Yeah. I mean, she looks huge, and I don't know why that bothered so many people. I
Rasputin
mean,
predicted you'd return. Just kidding.
oh, okay. Really? I remember going on the internet, just reading. I don't know whose article I was reading about it, or I don't know if I was just watching Jim Sterling's review of it, where it was like people went down some crazy rabbit holes trying to like justify how her body was actually not normal, because they were like, well, for women, if you want to get that big, you have to have these many calories and this much protein. Yeah, I'm like, are you serious right now? Like, you really trying to tell, you're really out here telling me that the reason you have a problem with it is because it's unrealistic? Are you joking? Stop. Just stop. Like, well, and in the apocalypse, they're rationing, so it's like, dude, you gotta stop. You gotta stop. You gotta stop. Yeah. it's time to stop. Like when you're out here trying to make these, just listen to yourself. Listen to the arguments you're making about a video game character, and just it's it's time to stop. Where are your parents? Who are your parents? Yeah. Excuse me. Just looking for any unrealistic body types out here. Have you seen any? What? Oh. What? Oh. Okay, 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 okay. Yes, I see you. Oh, even better. Yeah, I feel like everything is a fetish. It's like feet, hands, ears. Oh, really? Did not know that. Yeah, if it exists, there's porn of it. It's reliable, to be sure. No exceptions. Uh, no exceptions. Got it. Do you want to do a nightfall? Okay. I do. I do want to test out my sleeper. I did not. I did not. I did not. Yes, I'm very excited about this. Jeez. Wow. He probably. He does. He does. Yeah. Eva Cloud. Ooh. Mm-hmm. Mm. Outbreak perfected. Mm-hmm. The outbreak perfected. Brr. Mm-hmm. 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 Right. Right. I saw. Yeah. Well, yes. 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 Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. Apparently, let's see, like Pinnacle weapon quests are going away.
Guardian, you're here. Excellent. Devram, are you linked up? I am. Good to
Mm-hmm.
hear your voice. Operation Stormcoat is go.
I just Randy throwing knife. No, I just got the what do you call it? The exit strategy. Uh-huh. I'm very much enjoying it thus far. It's very like snappy. Hmm. Yeah. Mhm. 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 Yeah.
The Taken fog cleared up as soon as the blight went down.
If the blights can be killed, then perhaps their infection can be reversed. You lot are going to save lives today.
Mhm. Yeah. Mhm. I'm interested in just the new stuff. There, you guys see, you gotta stop. You gotta stop.
Guardian down.
Ugh. Yeah. Um, I'm just interested in all the new stuff they're adding to the game. It's like very exciting, very exciting. Yeah, I'm very. I can't wait to use that warlock exotic. The no, that one looks cool. Yes. Yep, that's exactly what I needed. Hashtag they listen. They're listening, dear. Bungie is listening. Warlock gang. Yes. What about uh let's see. How about you get like a helmet that makes it so that you can aim your arc souls.
Guardian down.
You still there? You know, like you could have it be like not crazy enough. Okay, what about oh, what if you had um what if you have like boomerang bullets? Yeah, like boomerang. Yeah, that like return to the weapon like boomerangs. Or what if you had like right, right, but this gun doesn't do that because it's an exotic. Yes, it has one barrel where bullets ricochet back. It's
There must be a source. The Cabal hurt us, Guardian, but the Taken could ruin the EDZ forever.
okay.
Put an end to this.
Ooh, that would be cool. But then we have to write, I guess, some kind of feeling to like where they could walk. Yeah. Yeah. Mm, yeah. Mm. Mm-hmm. Like a boop auto rifle? Oh no, like a arachnid.
Guardian down.
Ah. The dragon's halitosis. Mm. It's off the chain. But yeah,
Guardian down.
right? Guardian. Yes, brilliant. I don't know either. It's not particularly funny, you know, it's just, yeah, yeah, exactly.
Guardian down.
Yeah, I think that's why. Yeah. What are you doing?
Guardian
Ah.
down.
Mm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Okay. I see. Very nice. Alright. Oh, I got you. You put what on cabbage? Uh. Oh, whether we wanted it or not. Okay, cabbage, if you say so. It kind of is. He's like the Destiny Boomer. You, dear, have you not heard of Field? Indeed was like his catchphrase. He did. Yeah. That was the callback. Yeah. Yeah, he had to do at least one. Indeed. He was great. I love Teal'c. Right. It has to be done. Oh, Nathan Fillion. I don't know whatever happened to the rookie. I feel like, around June, every show that had a cop in it was like, nope, canceled. It was a good show. 100%. Yeah.
They
Yeah,
just let
it
them
was
guard it.
cool.
This
It's,
smells
all the
fishy to me.
characters had something going on, and I liked it. After June, it was like, F the police, so. Pop cars and Fortnite. That's what I think about, for sure. No.
The Taken compromised a Red Legionary. It would explain how organized they've been. Without Oryx, I didn't think they could still...
There-
Well,
Ikora and I will investigate. Meanwhile, contamination is clearing across the region.
hmm Guardians will find a way, it's true. we shall find. Ah. We do make our own fate. Okay, I got myself a couple more ciphers, you know. I could do maybe one more Run of the Forest. Alright, okay. With the... actually, yes I am. Ooh, okay, maybe I'll join you. That would be awesome, actually. Oh my god, yes, that would be... We got pretty far. You know, we got about halfway through. We just need 3 more eyes of Savathun. Mm-hmm. Finally, get that hive optometry.
Once again, shout outs to Bungie for hiding things in places that please the art team. Because one thing I absolutely agreed with at one point, and I think it's because I Hate Everything said it. It was basically that Destiny has beautiful environments, well constructed, very lived in worlds that have the feeling of movie sets, because you're encouraged to just run through them without paying much attention, and when you do, it kind of breaks the illusion that they are as expansive and as detailed as they are, because it's very static.
Right.
You know, I absolutely agreed with that. Like, what's the point of all this beauty if you're not encouraged to actually explore it and run around it, and instead you're encouraged to run through it as fast as you possibly can in pursuit of your goal?
Yeah.
You know, that's why I loved in the Taken King, like the Dreadnought had those, I forgot what they were, but like those books. It was the Books of Sorrow. The Dreadnought had the Books of Sorrow hidden all around it. Some of them were in like crazy places that needed invisible platforms to access and doors that couldn't open right away, and that was awesome. That was awesome.
That was awesome. And then the reward
Lore.
was this awesome, awesome
much lore.
story.
The Oryx prequel backstory.
The Oryx, it was the story of the hive. You finally understand. You know, the Books of Sorrow made me stop seeing the hive as these random aliens just running around. It gave them depth. It was like, oh, okay, I see what's happening here. They're not just ugly monsters trying to kill me. They, you know, they have stories and there's the reason why they exist.
I mean, they were the smallest, weakest, most insignificant organisms you could ever comprehend. And one of them was like, hey, do we have to exist like this? Like, they had, what, like 2-week lifespans?
They had 10-year life.
Like, one of them was like, is this it? There's nothing else to life? Can we have more than this? And this worm god was like, funny you should mention that.
You can actually. It was really their desperation was palpable. Currently known as Samsung,
Mm-hmm.
formerly known as Sethona.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
You know, she wanted to be a mother, quote unquote, not because she wanted to fawn, but because she would live longer.
Mm. Wow. Ambition. Palpable ambitions there.
Yeah, like I don't care about all these kids. I just don't want to die. Like,
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, the hive I can definitely the hive I can definitely respect. You know, just for that reason. Like they literally had to claw themselves into the relevance and things they've acquired.
Yeah.
Like there, you know, it wasn't a society. They didn't live in a society. They didn't have a power that was just given to them or that they just inherited. Or I would say they tangibly had to work for everything they have and kind of sacrifice themselves in the process just to have a
They did.
shot at living
They-
as the other organisms do.
yeah, I mean they had to sacrifice the essence of who they were.
I mean, it's just because this is gross.
They gave,
Yeah, like
yeah.
gross.
They, you could any one of them really could make the argument that they did this for their people, but what people? You have no people, you know.
Oh my gosh. Are you trying to tell me that the
They were
hive
just a
are
bunch-
solo?
Oh jeez.
Don't look at me. Don't look at me. Go look at Ron Howard.
Well, I was actually trying to make a Superman reference.
I know. Oh.
I have no.
Can I give you the Henry Cavill look? Can I give you the Cavill look in response? Please.
The
Cool story, bro.
Okay.
Oh, the single, one of the greatest moments of Snyder's Superman. Period. That's right up there with the.
That's so
That's
messed
right there
up.
with the Flash side eye in Justice League. I think that's like one of the few. That's like one of the few moments that everybody in the theater lit up during, like when we went to see that in theaters. That was one of those moments that the theater just lit up and died over. Like the Flash really thought he was gonna speed force his way into a flank, and Superman's eyeball was just like, bro, I'm holding 3 of you right now. What are you doing? And Ezra Miller gave him a look that was like, this isn't Fantastic Beasts? What set am I on? Like, he looked completely bewildered that this was happening. Like, he'd never seen anything faster than him before. He was like, what?
What? Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, brilliant.
And now he is our Geralt. I could not be happier. More Cavils. More Cavils.
More Cavill.
Just, where are my coins? I can't wait for the next season.
Me neither. Drop a coin to your Witcher.
Yep.
Coin.
Yo! I love that. Great fun. That reminds me, Mandalorians.
Oh yeah, that's out today. The first episode, at least, of the second season.
And it's apparently in a language that is beyond human comprehension. I gotta say, this has got to be a milestone for the Star Wars franchise.
Wow, interesting. What language is it in?
I didn't even ask. I don't even know. I mean, it could be Huttese. Maybe the Yodas have a language. You know, because I think it's very funny that he speaks English backwards. But that's gotta mean that does that mean that there's like a language where they just speak in a linear sense and it all makes sense? And this is just how they speak English? I mean, Japanese is read from right to left.
Yeah, that's true. You know what? That's always the impression I got. My impression was that whatever language they would normally speak, like that's the order in which you would say this.
Yeah, like their subjects and predicates are constantly changing sides.
Yeah. Right.
Oh man, what is that line? It's when 900 years old you are, look this good you will not. Love it. I love it. I love it. I can only hope to look like Yoda when I'm 900, you know.
When I'm 900 years old,
totally.
yeah, I will be very happy if I look like Yoda when I'm 900
Yeah, I
years
saw
old.
the prequels, man. I was like, bruh. What, you got some gray hairs or something? You out here aging like Prince. That's the only difference I can see in Yoda from the prequels to A New Hope. He got some gray hairs, you know. Got some fuzz on the top. No, not the original prequel one. The one they fixed. Yeah, we don't talk about the original prequel Yoda. It never happened. I love how it's just erased from history. This has never happened. Every time I've seen the Phantom Menace since then, it's got the updated Yoda. Like they literally patched Yoda.
They had to. We needed a Yoda
That might be
patch.
one of the first times I've ever seen that happen. I mean, he kind of went overboard once he found out he could do that, but you know, with great power.
Yeah.
With great power.
Yeah. He ended up fixing the original series. It's like
McClunky.
This is how I originally imagined it.
You originally imagined McClunky? McClunky?
McClunky.
You got one of the hosts on Fire Team chat saying it every time they do an episode. He's always like, McClunky. And I'm like, ah. The Scourge of Greedo. The Greedo fix.
The Greedo fix.
I am absorbing that you may not get this reference. I feel like you're coasting. I feel like you're
Not
coasting
really.
and you're not saying it, but I'm gonna call you out on it.
Oh yeah, I really don't know. what
When
you're talking about.
so one of the most polarizing and long-lasting arguments, or at least it used to be, in Star Wars canon between fans was whether or not Greedo shot first. In the scene after Luke and Obi-Wan talk to Han Solo, he has this run-in with some guy he obviously owes some money, and he's there to like kill Han Solo to collect his bounty. And, you know, after an exchange of shots, you see Greedo, you know, hit the deck. He hits the table, dead. And people always try to argue, you know, whether or not it was Han that shot first or Greedo. Both, both
okay.
conclusions really just leading to a discussion about his character. Because if it was self-defense, then yeah, I mean, you know, he's the guy you know and love. You know, he's Han Solo. What? He was defending himself. If Han shot first, that's kind of dark, man. That says a lot about him. Man, he just killed this dude, you know, out of cold-blooded. And that was the debate for years, you know, with neither side really reaching a conclusion, despite examining every single frame and like really going, ah. Some people believed Greedo shot first. Some people believe Han shot first. Either conclusion, to be honest, either conclusion really just leads you to a different perception of his character, which I think is pretty interesting. And then George Lucas, quote unquote, fixed it and made it well, not a couple of years ago. Like when the Star Wars trilogy came out on VHS, I think is when he started putting all these digital effects and weird shit in it. But one of the changes he made was he made it pretty much unassailable proof that Greedo was the aggressor and Han was just defending himself. He did it in a really ham-fisted and stupid way, too, because, oh my god, the first thing he did, like, he tweaked it a couple of times before it became what it is now. The first thing he did was he fucked around with the frames to make it look like Greedo shot first, and Han like moves his head to dodge the bullet and then shoots him back. When that wasn't explicitly obvious enough for anyone involved, he then added a voice line to Greedo that sounded, I guess, aggressive or, you know, like he was coming for his throat before he shot at him. And that word was McClunky. Right before Greedo shoots, he says McClunky, and then they shoot at each other. So it's like, all right, McClunky. The fuck, George? What's wrong with you? And his only response is, well, that's the way I originally intended it to be. You know, I always thought that Greedo didn't shoot first, and it's like, I always thought that Greedo shot first, and it's like, okay, you ain't have to kill the discussion though. If the discussion was a beautiful accident that only, like if this discussion was started by something you did not originally intend to be in the story, that's awesome. It literally engaged your audience and made them more invested in Han Solo's character. Why did you feel the need to insert yourself into the argument and explicitly define it for everyone? Like, why couldn't you have just said, well, I think he shot first.
Look.
And then the people who thinks he shot first have George Lucas on their side. No. Had to McClunky it. You know?
They went ahead and McClunky
Thankfully, Denis Villeneuve knew better than to state whether or not Decker's a replicant in Blade Runner 2049. He knew better. He knew better. He was like, nah, I'm going to leave this. I'm going to leave this alone. Yeah, it's like, it's so important. It's so important to the themes and the context of the movie and his character and what his character means that I feel like the discussion is far more important than actually knowing. I feel like the topics that you can branch around this very concept, it's too good. It's too good. It says too much about the movie and what it's trying to say and what it's not trying to say. You know? Because you've got K. Yeah, that's basically what K is. You know, he's a replicant that hunts down replicants. It's it's a very integral part of his character and why he sees the world the way he does and why he wants the things that he wants. And you know, like
Yeah.
that's fundamental to him. And just as fundamental is not even knowing that about Decker. And I'm glad he preserved that, because you can interpret anything from that ending. Even the little details that are sprinkled in the sequel kind of call that into question still, but don't explicitly define it. And I'm like, yes, I'm so glad that they got someone who genuinely understood Blade Runner to make its sequel. Genuine understanding there. Love it. Love it.
Just the cinematography was so beautiful.
Beautiful movie. You know, it's the kind of movie I'm actually surprised exists. Because in an industry where blockbuster algorithms, increasingly short attention spans, and, you know, broad templates were becoming commonplace, unchallenging film structures, they really gave this man a budget, the original cinematographer from the original,
Yeah.
and as much running time as he needed, and said, here, go for it. Like, holy shit. That movie came out. It was something that could not possibly have ever been a broadly appealing, you know, movie, blockbuster. There's no way it could have ever been. So I'm happy that despite this, they let him make it with zero pushback, even though it, you know, ultimately did not make a ton of money. But they let him make it. It got its Academy Award.
Yeah, it ultimately,
you know.
it ultimately won them an Oscar. You know, I think they understood it was not going to, like, realistically speaking, I think they understood it was not going to be a blockbuster.
Yeah, there's no way. You know, I would love for it to be, but I feel like that's wishful thinking, you know? Shit! I'm the last one. Hold on. All I gotta do is kill one.
Okay.
There we go. Whew. If I had
Alright.
died, we would have been kicked to the end. We wouldn't have gotten to fight the boss. Because the collapse is imminent. Yeah, if you wipe during imminent collapse, they just shoot you to the end. So at least we got to the 6th branch.
Yay!
But yeah, like, yeah, just the fact that it exists in the way it was originally intended, given what gave Blade Runner its original cult status in the first place, I think it's a beautiful thing. I'm happy it exists. Love it. Because as we know,
Me
we
too.
did not get to see the original Blade Runner until like almost 30 years after it came out.
Which is insane.
Movie has like 7 cuts. 7. Insanity. And Ridley Scott did not get to show the original opening that he had intended for the movie until, like, I think I was graduating high school. Like, good lord. No, actually, no. I was in college. It was like, what the heck?
Yeah, that's crazy.
That long for a unicorn. Ah. But it you know, it meant something. It definitely was a better ending than the studio chose. Definitely.
What was the ending that the studio chose? I don't even remember what that ending was.
They felt all right. So part of why it was chosen was that they felt like it was too bleak.
Mm-hmm.
And like I guess test audiences were not happy. You know what I mean?
At the end of the
People
movie,
were not.
okay.
people were not happy about the fact that it left more questions than it did answers. Oh, you wanna take us back to
Yeah.
the tower?
Yes.
So they cut out like the origami unicorn. And I think oh. How could I even forget this part? How could I even forget this? And he also doesn't kill Rachel. They get to escape Los Angeles together.
Well,
Like explicitly defined. Like in the original, you don't really know whether or not she does, and that's kind of like part of the mystery of the movie, and because you don't know if Rachel lived on to have a child, but it's explicitly shown like they both get to escape together. Yeah.
I see.
It was like, oh, okay, awesome.
Well,
But
I
as we
see,
came
I
to
see.
find out, she had longer than the 4-year lifespan that most replicants are supposed to have.
Yeah.
And I don't think he leaves behind the unicorn either, which doesn't call into question, which doesn't bring up the conversation or call into question whether or not Deckard is or isn't.
I see. All right. Yeah. Because the unicorn.
Like him leaving
Yeah.
the unicorn behind is almost like a tease, like, I know what you see when you
It's like-
sleep.
Yeah.
Which is interesting, But I think the original one of the screenwriters, and I think whoever got like control in the editing bay was like, he believed that Deckard is human. I don't think we know what Ridley Scott thinks. I'm not sure. I think we might know.
He wisely does not tell us.
Mm.
Wisely, he just
He leaves it be.
lets us make our own conclusions. I actually don't think that he's a replicant. I think
think he's
he's
human?
human. Yeah.
Yeah, see? I'm kind of on that side too. I mean, anybody can dream of a unicorn, it's like, I mean, it's not like Exos, all Exos dream of the Deep Stone Crypt.
I mean, evidently they do.
Hey, that means something. That's pretty huge.
Every night, they dream of the Deep Stone Crypt. And they dream about killing everyone they know.
Yeah, which, as we know, is an inherent quality of the Vex, having been, well, basically being the goo.
Basically being the goo.
They're
yeah.
all the goo.
Which makes it...
Hmm?
And that metaphor actually makes so much sense now, because we know that, the whole metaphor with the winnower and the gardener is like, the Vex basically were very good at this game because they could they could
Yes.
they could assimilate this pattern very well. You know, the pattern which was like, you know, if it was I mean, basically, it was like sword logic. They had to kill everything.
Yeah, you
around.
could say they were good at adapting and surviving. I mean, that is the
Yeah.
that is the measure of a being's right to exist, right? Its ability to adapt and change, and with the conditions that surrounding them. And while the gardener is like, well, I mean, survival just means that you can beat up everything around you until you're the last one standing. And Gardner be like, well, I think that life is dictated on how well you can protect yourself from the things that want to kill you. And the Vex were like, I'm just going to be over here trying to exist. Period. Whatever shape that takes. Can I get out of here? Where's the door? How do I get away from all like microorganisms are like, we want to leave. You're like, all right, how about neither party? Ah! You know. Millions of tiny Chris Pratts.
Oh, that's great.
Just chilling. But I am very compelled. I would love to see the Exo race finally explained. We know about everybody else. No? We know what's up for humans. Fallen, Hive, Vex,
Yeah,
Cabal.
we know what's up with the hive. We know what's up
Awoken.
with the awoken.
But Exos have remained a mystery.
They have, even though we've gotten things here and there. You know, like with during the what do you call it? The Black Armory Ava 1 story. You know,
Oh.
but that was just her story. That's not the story of the
No,
Exo.
and also, I just realized, it also makes the Traveler's decision to give Fellwinter a ghost even more compelling in hindsight. Because, well, Clovis Bray already proved what happens when you infuse bleep with bleep. It's kind of interesting that, Fellwinter was an Exo of light.
Yeah. Right.
That makes
Makes a lot of sense.
that makes that even more interesting. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Makes a lot of sense.
Just infuse the frame with light. Like, that's a thing to do.
Clovis Bray was cray though. Like, damn.
I cannot wait to see how cray. I know the Beyond Light lore books are going to be. They're gonna be deep. Okay, those Beyond Light lore books are gonna be kicking.
Mm-hmm.
Cannot wait.
I think Deepstone Crypt is gonna be the raid.
Really?
I think so. Yeah.
Oh,
I think that's.
so the
where
boss
they're
is gonna be
going.
Clovis Bray, in an Exo body, in a giant crazy
Oh my God,
Exo body. It's gonna be
imagine.
Clovis Bray, like. Long have I sat down here. It's gonna be nuts. Can you imagine though? Like, imagine, like, didn't he just disappear? Not a trace?
I don't know what.
We gotta
happened
figure
to
out. We
him.
gotta find out what happened to Clovis Bray, because if Clovis Bray just disappeared, I'm pretty sure he's probably an Exo, and he's probably not one like Elsie or Banshee or Kitten Kate. No, he's probably something more sophisticated and probably more dangerous. Because
Yes.
I would say that to some degree, the Exos that we know and see are like the beta version. And since no one ever really cracked the code of how he managed to do this, they've just existed as they are, which is why they have defects and, kinks like wiped out memories when they have to be rebooted, or, like versioning deteriorates them over time. Pretty sure that's like a kink that if Clovis Bray was alive longer, probably something he would have ironed out with time.
I think you're right. I think that the whole thing with the memory wipes, we hear about the, what do you call it? The DER or whatever it's explained as on the Bray facilities. But if in the collector's edition of Destiny that everyone's been getting, Clovis Bray has a different explanation for it. He says that crash cycles is what led him to do that. Like, basically, when he, like, the beta versions of the Exos that he was working on would crash because they were too much like machines.
Meaning what?
So he
Is
had
that
to.
similar to what the thing
So,
says in the facility, where it's like, the brain is in a body that it rejects, so it just spazzes out.
essentially,
That's why they have to have their memories wiped in the first place, because having the cognitive function of a human and putting it in a machine body just is too much for the consciousness to handle.
it's uh basically yes. That's what it sounds like on the, well, but not on his diary. He explained it in
No,
some
the
other
facility
way.
says that. Remember the
Um,
rooms inside the Lost Sector where you can go up to the machines and poke
yes.
them, and they explain how exos are made and how
Mhm.
engrams were created.
Yes, that's explained, but on the new
The diary.
thing, on Clovis Bray's journals, he says that basically it's more like the,
The human
how do I
mind
put it?
learning
It's
that
like,
it's not in a body over time.
yes, that sounds more accurate, I think. I would have to go back and read it. But it's like, you know, your mind inside of a
Mm-hmm.
machine body. Your brain is not it's not a perfect
Mm.
system. Like, there's all sorts of messy things happening all over the place, and that's something that a machine can't reproduce.
Yeah.
So the fact that you need to have your memory erased from time to time is not really about, you the it's actually the opposite of what they're saying. It's essentially the machine body can't handle the human brain.
Mm. I was just about to suggest something
So,
like that, like to say that, the brain is tasked with regulating and
yeah,
changing so many things in the human body at a constant that,
right.
yeah, without even half of the need for things like that to occur, it makes sense that your brain would either start questioning its reality or would start over functioning to the point that, you probably lose your mind.
Right. Exactly. Like, when he explained it, he said that the first issue, so he moved the mind of his son onto the first exo body.
Jesus.
Okay? And the issue
Underway.
yeah, because he's crazy. And the issue he had was that his son got stuck in 8-second loops.
Good God.
8-second loops. He literally sat there like, I just woke up. I don't know what's happening. I think something's wrong. Where am I? I just woke up. I don't know what's happening. I think something's wrong. Like 8-second loops.
That is the saddest and most terrifying thing I've ever heard. I'm not even like that is wow. That's really sad
Yeah.
and terrifying. Can you imagine?
Yeah, he did that. He did that to his son because he's a cool guy.
I hope he made a proper backup. How big were the thumb drives by then? I mean, we had physical data in the form of engram. Did he use an exotic engram to back up his son's brain? I hope he did. Oh, God!
Because he died, so...
Clovenstein. I'm going to call him.
Apparently, at least according
I'm going to call
to
this man Clovenstein.
I'm sure...
Dr. Clovenstein! Yes. That is terrible. Oh, man. Wow. I got to read this journal. Good
You
gravy.
know... Yeah, it also... I wonder if anyone's put it on the...
Somebody's probably...
On
Somebody's
the-
either, like, you know... was it logging it or scanning it as we speak? I wouldn't doubt it. Halo Reach, the collector's edition,
'Cause,
came with Dr. Halsey's journal, infamously. Yeah, I love
yeah.
Bungie.
Because I think Mylan Games had a video about it.
I gotta check that out.
And I want to check if the Ishtar Collective has it. Like
Yeah, like I bet
transcribed
they're
already.
transcribing
you know
it
they will.
as we speak.
Yeah.
Wow, that's insane. I have a feeling we're gonna be like socks are gonna be knocked. I feel like Bungie is doing exactly what they want to do, exactly the way they want to do it, and I feel like that freedom mentally, psychologically, you know, when your only concern is doing the best job you possibly can for your own satisfaction.
Yeah.
I feel like the best things come out of that. I like this. It's gonna be a very interesting week.
It is. You gotta keep your eye on Twitter. You know, you may run across some insanity because of Twitter, but I think it's worth it.
Yeah, I mean, we still have to answer that question about, you know, the seasonal inadvertent PSN leak, because they can't help themselves when setting down the
Yeah.
placeholder data for games that aren't out yet.
They really can't.
Like Bungie, stop sending them the spoiler art. Be like Marvel. Send them disingenuous placeholder shit. Make like 3 different versions of your trailer with 3 different types of information to just throw people off the scent. I'll never forget the Infinity War trailers that showed the Hulk running with during the final fight scene in Infinity War Part 1. I'm sorry, Infinity War. Yes, the Hulk was in that fight. Yes.
Really?
Not
Fake.
Banner in a Hulkbuster suit. Not, you know, the Hulk being a metaphor for erectile dysfunction. No. The Hulk was out there. And infamously, as we know, that is not how things went down. Trailer is full of fake scenes on purpose to throw people off the scent. It's like, Bungie, if you got to do that, do it. Send Sony all the weird shit.
They give their actors fake scripts with fake scenes and
It's ridiculous. Yeah, like even fake names. Like, what is it? I think for the Sony Spider-Man movies, like, they named them after like Seinfeld episodes. And they don't let Tom Holland near the scripts. They give him a page a day. Like, don't tell Tom Holland anything.
and just like shoot everything out of order. Just keep him
Keep him on his toes.
confused. Yeah.
You got to get ahead of the things, right? It's my favorite thing. I love it. He was like, I wonder if Sony will mind if I leak this. Well, I've got the Nolan okay, so Sony Pictures was just like,
They can't fire me now.
treasure. Oh, Tom Holland is hilarious. And he cuts a good Drake, I gotta say. I was convinced that picture was
Jeez.
photoshopped. I was convinced that somebody had, you know, Photoshop skills in one hand and wishful thinking in the other. And then when I vetted it and found out it was real, I was like, whoa. Whoa. All right. You have my attention. Now you have to get my curiosity. Love it. All right. That is how you bonus out, okay?
Indeed.
No, I'm not going to lie. I thought there would be at least 30% more forest. But we'll get you on the mend for that. You probably have like what, like 18
Yeah,
or
you
so
know
left.
what?
There's 6 chests to run.
Let me see.
We just did 12 technically. I know you had the keys for all of them. So you've done 12 chests today
I
at
did.
least. You know, that's not a bad
Let
run at all.
me
Maybe you've got like,
Google
what you said
check.
you had 24? So maybe you only have 12 left. Which is
Let me
dope.
see.
It's like 2 more runs. Well, I don't, you know, keys and all that.
Mhm.
Yes, yes, yes.
I have 36, so I need to do 9 more.
9!
That's fine. That's like 2
Yeah.
more runs.
And we got to get you to
Yay.
branch 7, you know. We don't leave pinnacles on the table here.
Oh, I think I got it.
Oh, you did?
already.
Oh, awesome. Okay.
Yeah, because while I was waiting for you, I got
Dope.
to
All right, good. All right, good. We don't leave pinnacles on the table here. We do not.
Mhm.
And yeah,
Yeah.
maybe next we drop down. We can go on that journal hunt. You gotta get
Yes.
them. You gotta get the books of Cade. No,
Yes.
the journal
I have
hunt
to
is
do
actually
that.
pretty dope. You're gonna enjoy that. I mean, come on, it's Cade's
Oh, that's
journals.
fun.
Only good can come of this.
I am looking
I
forward
mean, remember
to
the
that.
drifters?
The drifters were hilarious.
Dark shit. Talking about ghosts that would watch their guardians starve to death and then just revive them to watch them starve to death again. It's like, what? Oof. Dark
That's
days
messed up.
before we reach the towers-based civilization we have now. Dark days. They literally had a dark ages of the light.
I know, to me that's really interesting because our guardian our ghost is so full
Mhm.
of pep.
Yeah, like it's so interesting to think that every ghost is not like Ghost. We're
Right.
very lucky. We are quite lucky to have the ghost
Yeah.
that we have as our ghost.
What's interesting is that the ghosts choose
Mhm.
the guardians. So
I can't wait to meet pulled pork.
I can't wait to meet pulled pork. That's gonna be
I feel
very
like pulled
exciting.
pork and Ghost would get along. Very breezy,
would.
optimistic personality there. And it's funny. I think it's almost like the Ghost is exactly what that guardian needs. Like, I always thought it was
Yes.
strange before I knew that ghosts had distinct personalities. I always thought it was strange that your one link to this world is someone who's knowledgeable, but also kind of naive.
Right.
And in hindsight, that's kind of the perfect ghost for our guardian.
Right. That's exactly who we are, right? Whereas, Fellspring, you know, Fellwinter's ghost, you know, was a lot tougher. You know, was like, well, I know you don't like me, but I'm the only friend you have, so.
Very, very to the point. Very exacting. Very
Yeah.
very decision bound and logical. Yeah, and you know, Pulled Pork is very cheery and supportive and optimistic,
Yeah.
which is exactly the kind of ghost that the Awoken, formerly
Someone
known
like
as Uldren Sov, would need to survive this world he finds himself in.
Yeah, that is so interesting. Like, this is the first time we've seen a brand new Guardian who's not, you know, us.
Who has a clearly defined personality that he's no longer aware of.
Right, like he doesn't know what he did. You know, we can't hold him accountable for that. Can we?
Can
I
we?
mean, we already did. We already killed him.
Yeah. And oh man, we are so gonna get the "this is how we talk" line. I am so convinced they done gave him the Destiny trailer name. It's happening. It's happening.
And he's working with the spider apparently. And did you hear about
shit.
what
The
we're
spider.
doing
The
with him?
spider knows who he is too.
The spider, of course.
spider knows who-
He's not
Oh, of
telling
course
him
not.
shit, but he knows who he
Oh no,
is.
Spider does not show his entire hand right away. That is not a Spider thing to do. He's like, you know what? Actually, it's better for both of us. I should have known who you are. Makes you easier to use. It does, though. Makes him
It
so much
does, yeah.
easier to have as an ally. And no, I didn't yet. I did not.
You should watch it because apparently I'm just gonna say one thing. We're not done with the Oryx family tree. Apparently.
Savathun is his sister.
Sister.
You know,
Yep.
we still got two. We still have two of, you know, the Destiny plastics still alive and kicking. Okay, we just took out Regina. All right, that's all we did. Regina got hit by a light bus. And now, you know, Gretchen and Karen are still out there. Right now, we're going after Gretchen. That's why her ascendant realm is so large. You know, it's full of secrets. That is like the best
funny.
allegory ever. I'm not gonna. I may have to just carry that until the Witch Queen comes out. They're like the plastics. we even know who they all are.
They are like the
Really
plastic.
are. One of them's got like dirt on everyone and is obsessed with the social structure. The other one is like the leader. And like the third one is like just oblivious. And I'd die laughing if we run into like Xivu Arath and she's really just like single-minded about just beating everything to death. Not terribly tactical.
Well, Xivu Arath is all about war, remember?
That's what I said. Beating everything to death.
Beating everything.
She's like
to death.
Kratos before he was
You
a
need to
dad.
watch- Yes.
Ares!
Yes, indeed.
Zor! Zeus! Like, just screaming different names. What? That was him in God of War 1. Ares! And then from God of War 2 and in 3, Zeus! It was just really funny. Like, he had depth, but it was very easy to take Kratos as one note because he's just so Kratos.
Well, yeah, he was just very angry. He was a very angry gentleman.
He was quite angry. But all right, I'll get on that. I will get on that video. I gotta. Yeah, I have not a Zeta crossed in a bit, so this will be fun. I'll read the thing first and then watch his assessments. You know.
You should just watch the vid doc.
I did. I didn't finish it though because I was on the bus with Cabbage. I reached my stop, so I only watched like half of it.
Okay.
I took a ton of screenshots of it though. It's ridiculous. These environments look amazing. Just really compelling things like the storms and certain scenes of it. I'll send you a few. But yeah. I will examine some of that before I hit the hay.
Sounds like a pleasant. You still up for pumpkining out?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Okay.
So want to do that tomorrow?
Yeah.
All right. Well, lead us out.
Well,
When I lost Carlos and
check us out on the
Staring
YouTube,
at your ghost.
on the Twitters, on the Facebook,
The books of face.
on the Instagrams. Yep. And also on InfernalPenguins.com.
Where we always have time to
No word
explain.
from Fenchurch today. You must have found something
I really gotta send you Beyond Riot.
interesting to stop, so no worries.
I
Okay.
dead ass wrote bars around that phrase when I was talking about
okay.
in the verse that's talking about the stranger. I had to work that in.
Don't get too distracted by the new setup, Guardian.
I had to do it. But yeah,
Take the Red Legion out. We'll do the same.
that is the end of tonight. Don't worry about me. I will not be like this until Beyond Light. Even though this is like the picture of neglect right here. This is like a metaphor for neglect.
Keep this up in particular.
It's okay.
On the good.
We will be back. Same bat time, same bat channel. Or maybe bonusing out again. Who knows? Beyond Light is almost here.
I tend to believe him.
Almost here.
We gonna die. No, I'm not entirely sure. But until then, thank you for watching. We will see you in the next. Good night, everyone.
Need some new moves, Guardian? Maybe
Yes,
a new look?
guten Night.